Guys, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to talk about giving yourself time to heal. When I was a freshman in college, my first semester, the week before my finals, my mom passed away. She had a brain aneurysm, and it was the most traumatic experience I've ever been through. Because before that, I thought I was the shit. I just thought I knew it all. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought life it was gonna be a breeze. I thought shit was a breeze. I was just like, look. So when my mom passed, I really didn't have any not that I didn't have I knew who God was. I prayed when I needed to pray. I didn't pray on a consistent basis. But when my mom passed, it ignited this anger in me. I was so mad at God. I was so frustrated with God. I was confused. I didn't trust him. I was perplexed. I was just like, me and God were not cool. We were beefing. I'm like, look, I believed in you, and you said you would protect me, and you said nothing bad would happen to me. How could you do this to me? Well, how could you do this to my family? What did we do to deserve this? What is going on? The thing about death is so final. When death happens, there is no rewind button. There is no surgery button. There's nothing you can do. When death comes, it comes like a thief in the night to kill, steal, and destroy. I didn't know how to handle that. I'm one of those people who is I like to be in control of all situations in my life. I am a very controlling person. It gets in the way, if I will admit. And so to be put in a situation where I just had total no control whatsoever, it was just it was a shock. It was a culture shock. It was oop, this is life. Grew up. I was a military baby. My parents were in the military for a while. My dad got out. My mom stayed in. I grew up in Waldorf, Maryland. I grew up in a nice neighborhood. I was only in the ghetto parts because I wanted to be in the ghetto parts. I didn't have a troubled childhood. I was very privileged. The only reason why I didn't have a good childhood was because I was bad as hell and because I got in trouble all the time. I had never experienced life like that, and it took me by surprise, and I didn't know what to do with this new revelation. Oh shit, the video just cut all the way off, but it's alright. Honestly, I feel like that was the start of my life. That was the start of my real I'm ashy as hell. That was the start of my real life. That was where I really started to find myself. That was when I really started to find out, okay, who am I, what do I stand for, what do I believe in, and things like that. Like I said, my mom passed away the week before my finals, and that was kind of perfect timing. The week she passed, I had got to spend that week home, and I got to get my mind right. And then the week after, the week that finals were happening, it was her funeral, and then it was winter break. So I had a month and a half. No, I won't say to heal, because it didn't happen that month. That month, it was not about healing. I feel like that month, the month directly after, it was about processing. And it was about me figuring out, well, how do I want to handle this? How am I going to handle this? For that whole month, the whole winter break, I smoked. I smoked like a fucking chimney. And I don't mean just a J here or there. I mean, I was waking up in the morning smoking, waiting until I wasn't high anymore, going to smoke again, maybe falling asleep, waking up, smoking, and just smoking enough so that I would fall asleep or just be numb to whatever I was feeling at the time. I wouldn't say it was an addiction. It was more of a coping mechanism. Me personally, I smoke as a coping mechanism. I don't smoke because I like being high or because I'm searching for a high. No, I smoked to cope. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't want to do anything but smoke and cry and lay around and mope, and I couldn't live my life. I just felt like it is just so unfair for me to live my life knowing that my mommy just lost hers. When I started my healing process per se, so my healing process, it started the day of my mom's funeral. Her funeral was on December 13th, 2016. Overwhelmed. Oh my God. Funerals are so overwhelming when it's somebody personal to you who passed. First of all, you don't know what I'm going through. I'm not okay. It's not going to be okay. This isn't okay. Like, I'm hurting. I'm sad. I really just needed my space. I was mad. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I didn't take grief easily. I took it very hard. I was so angry at everybody. It was just like, what do you mean you understand what I'm going through? Is your mom dead? Did your mom die the week before your funeral? You don't know what I'm going through. It affected my relationship with my friends because I was just like, y'all don't understand what I'm going through. So how can I vent to y'all? How can I talk to y'all? During that time, I was tweeting a lot because, like I said, my friends just weren't there how I needed them to be there, and it's no shade to them, but they just weren't. Like, I felt like they didn't know what to do, or they just didn't care enough to even try to know what to do. So I was just tweeting through the whole thing, and it was just like, I wasn't normal anymore. It was like people couldn't have normal conversations about normal things with me. They just wanted to check on me. I didn't want to just like, I didn't have anybody just wanted to talk to me about how I felt and how I was doing and how, like, what was going on and what was the weather like, and what, like, I didn't have anybody trying to help me through that. So it was very confusing, and it was very, like, that was a hard time for me, y'all. Like, when I say I isolated myself, and that was when, like, my anxiety problems really began, how it felt to me was, I'm in this world and nobody knows what I'm going through. I'm just like, there's really billions of people out there and nobody knows what I'm going through right now. Nobody knows this is the worst day of my life. Nobody knows that I'm going through the worst pain ever. Nobody knows that I'm going to remember this day for the rest of my life. Nobody knows that I'm going to remember you for the rest of my life because you don't know what I'm going through. It just hit me like, wow, time really just keeps going. Life just keeps going. And that was a very shaping moment for me. Like, that moment was just like, wow, just walking with all that pain on my face and nobody knowing, that gave me anxiety. It was just like, I felt like everybody could look at me and tell, but the truth was nobody had a fucking clue. Nobody had a clue what was going on with me. And I don't know which gave me more anxiety, the fact that everybody could look at me and not tell what I was going through, or the fact that, like, people might look at me and be able to tell, like, oh shit, this bitch is going through something. I was talking to my friend at the time, and I was asking him, I'm like, where in the Bible does it talk about, like, death? Where in the Bible does it talk about how this shit is okay? Because I know God is supposed to, like, have a plan, and I know God is supposed to, like, have it all figured out, but this doesn't make sense to me, and I can't understand it, and I can't begin to process and heal from it until I can begin to understand it. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm gonna butcher the name of this book, but he sent me to Ecclesiastes, and that book was about King Solomon and how basically he gave up everything he had, all his riches, all his money, everything, just to find his purpose in the world, and how at the end of the day he realized how meaningless this life was, like how meaningless life on earth was, and how meaningless, like, everything that we're doing now is, because honestly, this is not our home. This is not our final destination. This is not where we're supposed to be. We're here for a purpose, and once we fulfill that purpose, it's not to say that we're just gonna die once we fulfill the purpose, but it's just like, we're here for a reason. We're here for a season, and once it's over, we shouldn't be sad about it, because it's nothing for us here. You can't take money to heaven. You can't take your house to heaven. You can't take any of those things that matter and mean the world to you right now on earth to heaven. So it really doesn't matter. The second thing was, God has to take care of everything. Everything. God is putting O2 in the air, not nitrogen, not carbon monoxide, not ammonia. He's making sure that there is O2 for us to breathe every day. He makes sure that the grass is green. He makes sure that the wind blows. He makes sure that the sun comes up every single day. He makes sure that the moon is still revolving around earth. God has a lot to do in a day. He has other things to worry about than my life. Like, in the grand scheme of things, in the universe, in the world, I am such a small part of the bigger plan. I realized, like, wow, like, this is just life. Like, it's just life. Like, it's not God having a personal vendetta out to get me or to hurt me, or it's not God not taking care of me, or it's not to say that God doesn't love me, but it's just life. So you can't take it personal when things happen to you that seem like they shouldn't. Can't try to figure out why. Because honestly, even if you did know why, even if God did grant you the answers, it's not like the why would make sense. We'll never understand why God is doing what he's doing. I will never understand God's plan. I will never understand what God is trying to do for me right now. It might make sense 5 years down the line, or I might experience something in 3 months and be like, oh, that's what that was for. Oh, that's what God was doing. But right now, in the now, even if I asked God why, he could tell me and it would just be like, huh? It won't make sense. So I just have to learn to stop questioning why and start looking at, okay, well, what is this trying to do for me? What is this trying to show me? And that took a long time. People don't really read the Bible for understanding. People read the Bible for like facts, and people read the Bible not like it's a guideline to how your life should go, but people read the Bible looking for what they're looking for, and if they don't see what they're looking for, then the Bible isn't what they say it is. But I got saved the day of her funeral. I was sitting there on my dad's arm crying like a baby, and I just figured out, I was just like, God, I cannot do this alone. I cannot do this pain. I cannot handle this by myself. I knew in my heart that I had 3 options. I was going to become a drug addict, I was going to become an alcoholic, or I was going to become addicted to sex. I know myself, I know my vices, and I knew that those were the 3 paths that would be easiest for me to take. And I just didn't want that for myself. I knew if I did not seek God wholeheartedly, it was going to go wrong for me. I just knew that. That was step 1. Just acknowledging that I needed help, and acknowledging that it was going to be hard, and acknowledging what I needed. And I got saved because I knew that I was sacrificing and giving my life to God. But I didn't know what it meant to be a Christian at that time. Step 2, I would say, is being patient. Still working on that. But you really have to be patient. You have to give yourself time to grow. You have to give yourself time to heal. I'm impatient. It's just who I am. When I was going through that, I thought it would be okay to jump into relationships. Now, I never got like a full-blown boyfriend, nothing like that. But I was talking to people, and I just realized, like, I'm not ready for this. Not having that understanding, not having somebody who knows the pain I went through and knows how to deal with the pain I went through, and not having somebody who, like, understood my grief, that bothered me, because I had my days. Like, there were some days where I would wake up and I would be fine and I can go to class and it would be chill and it would be a normal day. And there would be some days where I could wake up and I would think about my mother nonstop, and I would be crying and I would be in a horrible mood, and I just needed somebody to understand that. Like, I needed another level of compassion that I don't think anybody can give me, or was willing to give me, or I wasn't able to vocalize the compassion and understanding that I needed well enough, because I didn't know it was what I needed at the time. It never worked because I would always be looking for something in them that they didn't know I was looking for. So then I would just end up leaving, because you can't give me what I'm looking for. But they never knew what it was, and they never knew how to give it to me. You just have to be okay being alone for a while. You have to be okay giving yourself that time to genuinely, like, heal, get right, alone. It's absurd for you to try and invite somebody else into that situation and thinking they can do it. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you need. You don't even know how to handle yourself. You don't know how to take care of yourself yet. But you want somebody else to come in and figure it out. Like, that's not fair. It's just not fair to bring other people into that situation. So give yourself time to be alone and get to know yourself. Like, if you were to ask somebody to name 5 characteristics about themselves, I promise it would be 5 good things. Get the time to know the 5 worst parts of yourself. Know them very well, because if you don't know those 5 worst parts of yourself, when they come up to the surface or when they arise and when they're in the moment, you don't know what to do with them. I got times to know my depressed side. I got time to know why, like, my anxiety side. Like, I got time to know my lonely side. I got time to know my spiteful side, my angry side. I got time to know every horrible part of myself, because it was the only part that was present at the time. You have to be comfortable in knowing that this isn't a final state, but you have to go through this. The pressure is going to be applied. Nobody has ever made diamonds without applying pressure. You have to apply the pressure. It's going to be there. and you have to get through it. Acknowledge, like, okay, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I have this going on, this is that, but it won't last forever. It's not forever. I'm working on it. Don't just claim the depression without claiming you're going to get through it. And don't just claim the anxiety, or don't just claim whatever you're going through without claiming victory over that. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Like, whatever you speak over your life is what will become it's what will come from your life. I just had to start acknowledging my discomfort, but not claiming my discomfort, not claiming like, this is me, I am depression, I am anxiety. Like, I had to just start claiming, like, okay, I'm working on it. I feel like this goes along with time, but don't rush it. Don't feel like there's a time limit to when you have to get over whatever you're going through. Don't take your time. Feel how you're feeling, like that. Feel every feeling. Don't try to neglect anything. Don't try to act like it's not there. Don't try to put it to the side. No, if you are feeling sad, feel sad. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. Feel how you feel and just go with the emotions. Like, don't try to cheat the process. I feel like that's what goes wrong with a lot of people when they try to heal. Like, don't try to cheat the process. Don't try to feel like you're bigger than the process and you can maneuver it and you can finesse. Like, you can't finesse the finesser. You can't finesse God. Like, you don't have to overcome it in one day. You don't have to do it all alone, like I said, but you just need to trust the process, and you need to trust that you're not going through this in vain. You have to trust that when you walk out of the situation, you'll walk out a better person than you walked in. You have to trust that this pain is going to help you, hopefully, and others in one way, somehow. Like, say this is because you're going to ask and you're going to pray and you're going to think you're ready and you're going to think you're ready and you're going to ask God for something and he's going to hand it to you and you're not going to be ready. And you're not going to know what to do with it, and you're going to fold, and that's just going to be that. This was not ready for what I thought I was ready for. I was not ready for what I was begging for. And God showed me that, and it took a long time for me to realize, like, oh shit, like, that was a test, and you failed. Like, I failed that test. Like, you're going to be tested through your journey, like, a lot, and you just have to peep the test, and try your best. Like, do your best on the test. That's all I can tell you. Like, life moves on. Life is not over because one bad thing happens to you. And this isn't just about healing from grief, or this isn't just about healing from, like, somebody passing. Like, you can be healing from a heartbreak. You can be healing from childhood trauma. You could be healing from a sexual assault. Like, anything that you're going through, this can be applied to it. You feel me? I feel like that's why a lot of relationships nowadays goes wrong, because you hop out of one relationship and you're still holding on to that baggage and that hurt, and you haven't forgiven somebody yet, and you still have these scars right here, you got open sores all over here, and then you try to walk into the next relationship and you want them to do what? Perform surgery? Heal you? They can't. Nobody can heal you. You have to heal yourself. That comes with you and God. If you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in Christianity, find something you believe in and believe in it wholeheartedly. Because if you don't have anything to believe in, the only thing you will believe in is yourself, and you're going to run yourself in circles thinking you know it all. I hope this helped. I feel like, I don't know. Just talk to me down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, follow me on Snapchat,